Hello, folks. This is Bela Vora with another success story. Every deal is a little different. There are different players, different circumstances, and I like to highlight sometimes what it was that was the deciding factor, some of the key components of that entire transaction. What makes it a success is what my clients think about it at the end of the day. So we start here. This is selling 404 Providence Hill in Coatesville. It's a beautiful property. My sellers bought it 5 years ago with me. We had loved the neighborhood, and they fell in love with the people there, and the kids made a lot of friends. But it was time to move. So I first start with staging and photography. Here is a professional stager, Kathy McClatchy, from Stage to Sell with her partner Sharon. They always list. They stage every home that I list, and I love to have her go through and pay attention to the details that are then reflected in the photography. And Kip Meyer from Home Jab, again, a huge shout out to him. They both do a fantastic job on my listings. So here the highlight was the backyard. It is a cookie cutter home in a neighborhood in some ways, but we wanted to highlight this gorgeous the updates that the sellers have made to the home since they bought it, and the gorgeous backyard that was very unique. And this is the stager moving the furniture around, lightening up the deck, taking some of it downstairs, and giving an uninterrupted view of the backyard. And the photographer who followed later knew exactly what to be filming because we had talked about it. I brought some fresh flowers to add a little bit of color to the backyard, and hey, the home looks fabulous. You can check it out on my YouTube channel. But now the next step was pricing the property. This is the competition. This spreadsheet shows what was going on with the listings in that neighborhood, Providence Hill neighborhood. And for whatever reason, these homes, there were two homes that were listed just before we were about to go on the market, were terribly underpriced. We were thinking of going on the market in the 440 range, and here is one with a swimming pool, in-ground swimming pool, and a finished basement that was listed at 425. And then there's another one with with an unfinished basement, but a little dated and tired looking, that was listed at 350. So that kind of disparity in list prices just didn't help us at all. And we don't have control over what others are going to do in the neighborhood. That's another case in point. Every time we can control our price and how we market the property and how it shows. But a neighbor who's just lists 50K below value, we don't have control over. And that impacted their sale prices. But what we did was we went in pretty close to where I wanted to be anyway at 429. And we still got multiple bids. And I managed to get the best price in the neighborhood. We sold higher than most other homes in the neighborhood, significantly higher. I believe the others did leave some money on the table that time. And appraisal becomes a concern when you sell this high. We had an unfinished basement. So the challenge was, so we waited. The appraiser was supposed to come out, and there are so many little decisions that we make throughout the transaction, and that impacts the success of the transaction. So the appraiser was supposed to come out on day one, on a Tuesday, and we happened to know that one of our comps, the 420 on Watch Hill, the 420K property, was going to settle the next day, and that was going to help with our appraisal. So we delayed the appraiser, and we made sure that he arrived and he knew about this sale, which was going to help us a lot with the comps. Of course, I always give the appraiser the comps. We know what they're looking for. It's not about spoon feeding them. We're supposed to be arm's length, but this only helps. Most of the appraisers appreciate the realtors giving them some numbers, some property addresses that they believe might help with the appraisal. So we had come in a little, the appraisal did come in a little short, but we had negotiated it with the buyer. We were covered for that amount and way more, and we were prepared. So that appraisal didn't hurt us at all. The buyer was prepared to bring some extra funds to the table. Remember, it is May 21, and it is a seller's market. So we were able to negotiate that appraisal waiver. The next step was to keep track of the loan. This was an FHA loan. Most people most listing agents will not accept FHA buyers because the standards are stringent, and there are ways in which there are checks and balances. We check on the mortgage lender and his reputation. We checked on what concerns we had with the FHA appraisal, why the buyer was going FHA instead of a conventional. So we do some of those details, but we had done our due diligence. I had called, I had followed up, and yet there was a technical glitch in the deal which we weren't able to resolve. But the key thing here is that when it is the right people, the right professionals involved in the transaction, we make it happen. When the buyer and seller want things done, it happens. So here we had a great dynamic of the buyer's agent and myself and the lender working in tandem and the title company and making it all happen. So this is my seller, constantly texting me as things are moving along, but she's so appreciative of the things I do along the way, that make it worry-free and stress-free for her. And now it is settlement date, and we need the proceeds from the sale to buy the next home. And the settlement's done at 12 o'clock and the wire still hasn't gone. And at 4 o'clock in the evening, I'm still following up on the confirmation for the wire. And here's one more text from my seller saying, Bela, you were done. And my work doesn't get done at settlement. My work gets done when my seller's work is done. So this was her final text to me that evening, before she became the proud owner of the next home that she was going to buy. And that's what I called a story that was successful. So yes, it was 2021, and yes, it's a seller's market, but I believe the staging helped. I believe the pricing and the analysis before we went on the market helped. I believe the appraisal, and keeping an eye on that, and waiting for that settled comp, that helped. And then there were all these process glitches along the way regarding the loan where the settlement was delayed by a day. And the relationship, the experience, and all of that comes into play here, and you pull it together for your client. And then those happy smiling faces at the end is what matters. So hope you like the story, people. I try to give as many stories as possible so you can share the behind the scenes and how it works. Hope this was fun. Take care. It was amazing for me to do.